The first time we did this, we had Luke Kerr Dineen on. The second time we did this, we had James Gregg on. The third time we did this, we're having Luke Kerr Dineen back on. Here's Luke Kerr Dineen, LKD from Golf Digest. What's up, Luke?
What's up, Dan? I appreciate the bake-off that you're having. I got to bring the takes this time, secure my spot for next time.
You gotta bring the takes. That's the first rule of business here. You did call Sergio a while ago, and that's been sort of vindicated. So we're gonna get going. I'll start with my first pick. We're gonna do this. The way we do this is I pick one, you pick one. We go through if the Ryder Cup was started tomorrow. I'm happy we're doing this today after like a good American, like a really good American won a tournament, because it had been a little while. Before this last week, Scotty hadn't won, Xander hadn't won. Kentlay hadn't won, Schauffele hadn't won, Morikawa hadn't won. JT finally gets us off the board. So I'm going to start with my first pick, Scotty Scheffler. 3 straight top tens. Hasn't won this. I'm wondering if the Phil curse might be real. Remember Phil said, is Scotty going to win before Bethpage? I say no. I don't know if Phil put some voodoo on him, but he's third in the FedEx Cup. So even his sort of B game has been plenty good enough. So Scotty would be my first pick, no brainer.
First pick for me, Rory McIlroy, obviously. He's achieved his bucket list dream of completing the Grand Slam at Augusta National. Now I think Rory's going to enter the kind of Ryder Cup focus part of his career. I mean, he seems like he's gotten more into team golf over the years. And I think that now he's kind of checked off what he can do on the individual side. I think now we're going to see a kind of upgraded Rory McIlroy in the Ryder Cup. So obviously he's leading the line.
Yeah, he said that one of the things he wants to still do in golf is win an away Ryder Cup. I don't know how many points he has, but I'm sure Sergio's all-time point record is something that's in his head. He's played a lot of these already. All right, my second pick, Bryson DeChambeau. I moved him up to number 2. Guy's a major killer. This is 4 of the last 5 major championships he's had a legitimate chance to win. The only one that he didn't was the Open last year. In Masters, he was in the mix. U.S. Open, he won. PGA Championship, he lost by 1. Obviously, was in the mix. Did not play well on Sunday, but he's found a way, man. He shows up on the big stages now. So Bryson is my number 2.
Yeah, good pick there. Ludwig's my number 2. He's a few years behind Scotty and Rory in the very upper crust of the game right now. But I think in terms of skill set, you can't really find any flaws, certainly in his game, and really any comparison with anybody else behind those two, perhaps. I mean, this guy does everything, and his weak spot is maybe his putting, and he's still a pretty darn good putter. So it's just a matter of time before this guy starts racking up majors, and he's just going to be such an integral part of European Ryder Cup teams going forward. I think he's locked on in the second spot.
No-brainer there. Justin Thomas, another no-brainer. He even before this week, he was playing at a top 5 level, according to Data Golf. He's fully back. And, I think because you and I, Luke, cover this sport every single week, we get very sort of caught up in the minutia. But that stat that I read out to Justin Thomas at the beginning kind of made me zoom out about guys who have won 16 times in multiple majors before age 32. And there's only 7 guys who have done it. So JT is a very, very prolific winner. He's the heart and soul of this team emotionally. Got the pick when he was playing like ass before Rome. He's playing really good now. JT, no-brainer.
Jon Rahm's my third pick. I said this last time, but I just can't get a good read on really any of the live European guys, and especially Jon Rahm. I just don't really know how his game is compared to 2 years ago, compared to a year ago. I mean, obviously he's going to be a stalwart in this Ryder Cup team, but he feels like he hasn't really gotten a rhythm in majors. He had a weird major season last year, so I'd really like to see some signs of life there for the remainder of the majors this season, but he's obviously going to be part of the backbone of this team, and his partner's coming up next.
Part of the backbone for sure. I think he finished tied for 14th at the Masters. He had a decent weekend, but yeah, he was not in the mix basically all week. My fourth pick is Collin Morikawa. Had his first bad week of the year. I think he finished 54th, but Ben and I we were talking about this earlier. I love how edgy he is. I love his attitude. He won't give an inch, and I think in match play, that's a really good characteristic, and also just such a solid ball striker, really good for alternate shot, not going to put his teammate in a bad position. Just really, really good at hitting the golf ball straight, which, honesty button, is very important in professional golf. Okay, that was not the best honesty button execution, but we're moving on to your fourth pick.
I appreciated it, though. It's a good one. Tyrrell Hatton is my fourth man on the team. In some ways, him and Rahm kind of solve each other's problems. You pair them together. It's kind of a set it and forget it thing. Also, he's probably the guy who, outside of Bryson, has fared the best in his post-live transition. I mean, he's playing great, right? Played well at the Masters, or won on the European Tour, had another good finish on the European Tour during the winter season. So, yeah, he's, I think it's, again, pretty no-brainer. And again, set it and forget it with Rahm. Pair them 4 times together if you want, and he's going to do great.
These 8, I'm confident in saying, are 100% going to be there. So now we're getting into after the top 4. I think you might have 1 or 2 definitely still going to be there. I think I have 1 or 2 is definitely still going to be there. One of those who's definitely still going to be there is Xander Schauffele. So, we talk about Scotty having a little bit of a slow start this year. Xander's had an even slower start. His injury was a little bit more severe, missed more time. But what I'm just so impressed by, he's got 11 straight finishes of top 18 or T18 or better in the majors. That is almost 3 full years of major championships of finishing T18 or better. You know what you're getting. Obviously, 2 majors last year. He's plays with Kentlay. He plays with Morikawa. He's part of our backbone. He's part of that Scotty, Xander, JT backbone. So Xander's still a no-brainer.
Yep, Viktor Hovland is my next pick. And, finally, we've got some optimism from here. He's been so down in the dumps with his own golf swing. He said, I asked him at the Masters about this in his press conference. He said his golf swing was non-functional this time last year, which is ridiculous because non-functional means you can't hit a golf ball. But in his mind, it's non-functional. Now he's ranking it like a 7 out of 10, and it was a 4, so it's trending up. It could be, on this rate, it could be 11 by the Ryder Cup rolls around. So yeah, we're buying all the Viktor Hovland stock we can.
Another winner. I think he's got 7 wins. And he's 28 or something in that range. So a guy who's when he's up there is no problem closing it out. My next guy, Patrick Kentlay, having a very Patrick Kentlay season. Not hearing much from him, kind of popping up on leaderboards every now and then. Didn't do much in the Masters, but still a top 10 player on Data Golf rankings. And I feel like after Hatgate, he's sneaky, and he was really good in the President's Cup. He's sneaky like a team competitions guy now. He's got a little bit of an edge, no hat pat. So I'm going with Kentlay.
Yeah, Tommy Fleetwood. I would say this is my last kind of
They're just solid, dude.
He's so good. He's such a good ball strike. He's a friendly guy. I don't think you could find a reason not to pick Tommy Fleetwood. I kind of feel like he's our generation's Ian Poulter kind of stalwart of the team, except he's really friendly guy too. Everyone loves Tommy Fleetwood. He's just A+ in every category when it comes to the Ryder Cup. Yeah,
maybe not on Sundays on the PGA Tour. I think he shot even or 1 under yesterday, but had another chance to kind of semi-win, didn't get it done. But this is not a PGA Tour event. It's the Ryder Cup. I'm going with Russell Henley. Had another really high finish, tie for 8th. Obviously got, that was this week at RBC Heritage, got the biggest win of his career at Bay Hill. I think he shot like 79, 68 at the Masters. So the 68 on Friday was really good. Just one kind of really horrible round. But another guy who's really solid, kind of a similar profile like Collin Moria, similar type of player. You can put him with anyone, especially on alternate shot. You know what you're getting. The guys really like him. They speak really highly of him. I'm going with Russell Henley.
Yeah, Shane Lowry's my next pick. This time 2 years ago, Shane Lowry coming to the Ryder Cup was really not in that great shape and kind of scraped in at the bottom of the barrel, but I think he's coming in a lot stronger this year. He's a 12th, I believe, in strokes gained approach with his iron play, which is great when you pair it with his short game. Those are going to be the kind of stats that you really look closely at when it comes to Bethpage. Somebody who can get up and down when he does miss greens and doesn't miss too many greens in the first place, which Shane Lowry's doing right now, is just an already great baseline skill set for a guy who brings kind of the good vibes to
Yeah, I was going to say, he's the ultimate vibes guy, I think, in that locker room. I think if JT is sort of the emotional leader, obviously Rory is a titan of the game, but I think Shane is big time heart and soul vibes. My next pick, Maverick McNeely. He was on my first team. He wasn't on my second team. He's on my third team. Runner-up at Torrey Pines. That was the Genesis elevated event. Made the cut at the Masters. Tied for 3rd at the RBC. So he's starting to do it in the bigger tournaments. He's a great putter. He's a really, really good putter, which is great for match play. And he said on this show, my goal is not to be at Bethpage, it's to get points at Bethpage. I want to give Maverick the chance. The guy was a prolific winner in college. Took him a little while to get that confidence on the big tour, but he's doing it now.
Yeah, Justin Rose, who I think nobody has gathered more fans post-Masters who hasn't won than Justin Rose. I mean, everybody just loves the guy now. He's a class act. He handled that loss so gracefully. And he wasn't on my team last time. And the reason why is because I just didn't see the record there that was particularly exciting. But since then, he's just completely proven me wrong, right? He did well at Pebble Beach, he did well at Arnold Palmer, and then, of course, at the Masters. He's an incredible putter. He's clearly at the stage of his career where he is gearing everything towards these big events, the Ryder Cup being one, with the eye of winning one. And I think he's definitely at this point booked himself a place on this team. I
mean, runner-up also in the last 2 majors, right? He was runner-up at Troon, and he was runner-up, and him and Luke Donald go way back, so I think he's a really good bet to reprise that kind of elder statesman role. I'm going with Daniel Berger, Boog Knight, DB straight vibing. I've said it from the beginning of the year. I think he's going to be on the team. He's got 8 top 25s this year. Just a really solid player. Kind of part of that. Him and JT go way back. He's played on Team USA's before. Had some really gnarly injuries with his back, but he's just been really, really solid this year. And I think another guy who can pair with a lot of people. And he's just vibing. He's straight vibing. I think he's going to absolutely love the atmosphere at Bethpage Black. I'm going with Bug Knight.
So Aaron Rai, I'm just hardening around the idea that I'm just an Aaron Rai fan. I just really like him as a person. I like his golf swing. I like the way he plays golf. I mean, he's inside the top 25 strokes gained off the tee, and he's one of the most accurate. He was the most accurate driver on tour last season. Just a really good ball striker. Really, really clean game. And I think that's the kind of guy who is a pleasure to play with an alternate shot. He's a good guy. You can do a lot of different things with a skill set like that. And I just like the guy a lot. So, yeah, Aaron Rai, he's getting in this team for me.
Awesome. I'm going to go with Ashe Batia. You need some young blood, right? We can't have all 28-year-olds and above on this team. I want Akshay there. I love the way he shapes it. I'm a little concerned about the putter. The long putter just makes me nervous because I'm just not a long putter guy in general. But I love his moxie. I think he's a guy who I think will be on plenty of these teams moving forward. And you gotta draw that first blood at some point. So I'm going with Akshay.
So Sepp Straka is my next pick. Love the guy's golf swing. Also, #1 ranked iron player on tour right now. Strokes gained approach. I think he's one of those who maybe is on a trajectory of he started his season really strong. I hope it doesn't run out of steam. I hope he kind of keeps this season-long peak going, or at least sort of maintains it. But listen, there's nothing to quibble with in this guy's game. He's got Ryder Cup experience. He's a #1, like I said, #1 ranked iron player on tour right now. So I think that's there's some huge positives when you get down later in your lineup.
Yeah, another guy who I think played really bad at first round at the Masters and then kind of bounced back. But yeah, I mean, your guys' team is just like really, really solid. Every name that he brings, I'm like, yeah, that's a good pick. Yeah, that's a good pick. All right, we got 2 more left. I'm going with Denny McCarthy. I want this guy on the team really badly. I think, you mentioned Ian Poulter. I think this is a guy who could sort of play that role where it's like he doesn't necessarily hit it the best, but he finds a way to get on the green. And I think he's Mr. Mongolian reversal in match play. I think he's going to make a bunch of putts. Putters are hugely frustrating to play against. I still have nightmares of Medina when we couldn't close it out because we had all those old guys who couldn't putt, Steve Stricker, Jim Furyk, and they missed a bunch of 4-footers. That's not happening with Denny McCarthy. I want him out there. Denny is my 11th and second to last pick.
So my second to last pick is Rasmus Højgaard. I did pick him last time. To be honest, he's kind of defaulting his way into this team. I mean, I really think you got to show a little bit more than what we're currently seeing from this part of the lineup. Like, if you want to earn a pick over some experienced guys and you're a rookie, you really got to be like racking up some good finishes, especially closer to the Ryder Cup thing. We're just not really seeing that much from guys like Fitzpatrick or whoever may be in this conversation. So Rasmus is kind of defaulting his way in. But I don't think this is like safe, steady form that locks you up one of those captain's picks. I think we're still waiting an upgrade from Rasmus, but we've seen enough there for in this current moment that he is probably nabbing one of these two.
Yeah, those top 10 are really solid there. I was expecting you to say Bobby Mack. Maybe that'll be your last pick. I'm not sure. My last pick might surprise some people. Patrick Reed.
Oh,
you like that? Back. Like a phoenix, like an American phoenix. 3rd place at the Masters. I don't need to say more about his history in the Ryder Cup. A little bit of villain energy. In New York, maybe not the worst thing that's ever happened. It's kind of like he's our guy, right? The New York crowd, if this was a normal tournament, they might be tough on him, but he's our guy now. You know what I mean? You want to deputize him. His short game is unbelievable. Talk about short game. And yeah, I mean, I just think, again, this might be a little bit of a prisoner of the moment off of his strong Masters. But if I see that name, and again, there's no one here that's really like taking that spot with 2 hands, Tony Finau is not really playing well. Brooks Koepka missed the cut at the Masters. Wyndham Clark not really doing it for me that much. So I would pick P. Reed if this was tomorrow. But again, this is very much subject to change.
Then you bring up a good point there, that because it's in America and in New York specifically, you won't necessarily see guys turn on Patrick.
Oh, no, he's our guy, dude.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, you predict my final pick, Bobby Mack. He's rounding out the team. 7th on tour in strokes gained off the tee. Again, you'd really love to see. I'm looking for more of a form player from this part of the lineup ordinarily, but this is kind of as good as Europe got right now. I think the majors are going to be ultimately deciding these two spots, but right now, Bobby Mack, with his experience he had, he was nervous at the last Ryder Cup, got through it, and his game has seemed to have sort of been upticking since then, so he's kind of rounding out my 12.
I can't wait to see what the world thinks of these picks. Their team is freaking really solid.
It's insane.
It's like scary. Like Bobby Mack is really good. He's their 12th pick on their team, so I'm a little concerned, but still plenty of time to go. Luke, we'll do this again, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good seeing you, Dan. Anytime.